There has been a ton of fake documents as of late, and I'm not talking the mortgage type. I'm talking about tenants counterfeiting their documents to get into a property. It's becoming borderline epidemic, so I'm going to give you our team's secret on how you can spot these documents so you too can hopefully avoid putting a bad tenant in your property because, that's going to be a disaster. Plus, I'm going to give you some anecdotal evidence that our team is personally seeing in the summer renting months on this week's episode of Prime Properties TV. Now, if you're looking for some help on how to navigate this real estate market, whether that's buying, selling, or investing, and when you buy your investment property with us, we help you and we take you through the entire life cycle of that investment. So we don't ditch you halfway through. This is why we have so much rental data, and I can show you exactly what we see right now. So if you want to book a call with me to kind of chat about your next real estate move, you can do so using the link right here. It's www.chatwithzen.com. Simply click on the date and a time that works best for you. And then when you see the prompt, fill in your name, email, mobile phone number, and the question you have for me, and then we'll chat then. Good day, Toronto. Welcome to another episode of Prime Properties TV. My name is Zen, and I run and operate a RE/MAX in the Greater Toronto area on top of making awesome educational content just like this one for you. And if you find any of these videos I put out there on real estate helpful in your journey, whether it's buying your home, investing, selling your home, or just curious about the real estate market, and in this case, how to catch those bad, pesky, faking document tenants, then make sure you spread the knowledge by smashing the like button and subscribing to the Prime PPTO channel. Now, fake tenant documents hasn't been a new thing, but it's become very prevalent in the summer leasing season that is this year. Like, kind of ridiculous how many there are, right? I'm not even talking about the professionally done ones because those are harder to catch, but I'm just talking about just downright really, really bad ones. And I'm gonna give you some examples later on this video to show you how bad it is and how you can catch it yourself, right? Now, our team does spot a lot of these bad tenants who lie because we come across so many of them with our clients' properties. But here are just some basic principles for you to follow, right? So first, always check the prior to the last landlord, not the last one, the prior one. We don't even bother calling the last landlord because if the applicant is a troubled tenant, the last landlord will say anything, honestly, even downright lie to get that applicant into your place so that they will leave theirs. So it's a moot point to call them, right? Then our team also has access to the land registry to check the ownership. Realtors, if you're watching, use Geo Warehouse. You can cross-reference the landlords on the applications to see if they actually own that property during that time that they say they are on the application, right? This is very, very hard to fake because it's a land registry, right? Then you cross-reference that address with what's shown on the credit report as well, because most of the times the credit report will actually list the history of the address that the person is in. So this is harder to kind of fabricate. And while they still can, it's just that much more elaborate, and it's very hard for them to kind of lie about the land registry because that's why we're using it as a fact-checking source. Then the next step is to verify the income, right? So many fake tenant applications put their friend's name on the HR or manager's position and try to lie their way into your property. And what you do is basically just Google the company, call the phone number that you found online, on Google, speak to whoever can confirm the income and employment of this applicant. Large companies would generally have a pretty big HR department, and it'll be a huge pain for you to confirm because for confidentiality reasons, and they will need to okay it from the person applying. That's why it's a little bit harder. If it's a smaller company, the owner or the manager will likely do it. But if, it comes too easy, I would say red flag, right? Because nobody is going to be picking up the phone and be like, hey, X person works here and makes Y immediately and hangs up. That just sounds overly rehearsed. You know what I mean? Now let's look through some of these examples we've gotten on documents in the last 2 months. And I'm showing you all of this so that you can catch it yourself if you don't have the help of our team. So first one, income letter. Just look at that warped Air Canada logo. It's so warped, right? Some of these paint jobs are just so bad, it's comical, right? Here's another common one, right? Editing the credit report. So big shout out to our support team who combs through so many of these things for our clients because it's so much more labor intensive now and you have to double check everything because there's so many fake documents. So when you edit your credit report and over here and your fonts don't match, it's just bad, man. It's just bad, right? I can't show you the full, words on the other one because it'll dox a person, but the font was pretty far off from what it actually should be. Here's another little font, and you can see all the months are different and the same with the balance. And all the past due was always 0, but the payments kept being over the actual showing balance, right? So bad math, bad font. It just doesn't add up, right? Same thing over here. Fonts don't match and spacing was totally missing between the words in the charts. It's not supposed to look like that. is that to keep in mind, our team sees tons of these credit reports and they're all generally the same looking. And we help a lot of investor clients with leasing their properties. So we see so much garbage. And when something looks like not right, we can catch it, right? This one over here is so easy to spot that one of the fonts is clearly correct and one is not. It's so far off. It's so bad. This one over here was a little bit harder to spot than normal, but you can see the lines, they don't actually line up on what's the real credit report. They should be equal thickness and consistent, right? So our team, again, sees many of these, and when they look at it, they're like, what? This doesn't add up. It doesn't make any sense, right? So when you do a bit of deeper dive, we're like, yellow flag. Now here's a tip. If you do get documents that are scanned through and sent to you, check through them thoroughly, because the whole thing where like you can't print or you can't find on Equifax or Credit Karma or whatever, it's just BS, right? You can also like print the entire web page. So if you get a scanned one, red flag. Now here's the same person also faking additional documents. Again, they did a pretty good job except for the lines, and if it wasn't for the lines, it would have been hard to catch, right? So I hope some of these give you a little bit of example of what to look for and how to catch them. If you are extra cautious, you can also use like programs or companies like Single Key that have a tenant screener. They'll pull the report for you to make sure it's actually legit, right? My final piece of kind of like intel or kind of tips I can give you for landlords out there before I give you like the anecdotal rental evidence is whenever you hear a realtor say, I vouch for this person, or I've worked with this person before, or they're a longtime friend, nothing against our industry, but it's mostly garbage, okay? Don't trust, verify it. Now, I suspect most of the realtors who are sending these documents may not even know they're actually fake because they're pretty hard to come by. And if they do, they're technically a accomplice with it, which is even worse, right? So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. So here's some interesting data our team pulled up to give you a little bit idea of what's happening on the market, boots on the ground, like anecdotal evidence that's not on MLS. So in the past 2 months during peak rental season, the average rent we saw on our end was about a little bit shy of $2,800. It was 100.3% over the list price. So, you know, it's not like anything's going overboard in terms of pricing, right? And on that note, if you're a realtor you're watching, please stop holding offer dates on rental listings. That's just evil. It really is evil. So here's where I would say things get interesting. Of all the properties we lease, the average deposit we saw for our clients was 3.32 months, which is quite a bit, all voluntarily provided, of course. And there were 2 instances where a full year upfront was provided and accepted. Now, we've had more offers like that, but a lot of our clients opted not to take the case because in what happens if the tenant decides to stay longer and they don't have the money, right? So that was just a precaution. Now, the average income leasing these properties was about $130,000 or about 3.87 times the asking rent on average. So we normally look for 3x gross, and keep in mind, some of our clients did accept students, so I had to strip that data out because it brings the average down because, you know, students have zero income. So that's a pretty high income, about $130K. And of all the leases, 13% of them were international students, which feels a little bit higher than normal years, I would say. We had one person who was a Ukrainian refugee, and everyone else that was accepted was basically Canadian or PR with jobs. Interesting, right? Now, keep in mind, there are tons of people who applied and were not accepted because of the profile and a lot of competing better profiles, right? The craziest thing is that we have people who are renting from our clients with like 300K plus income. Some of these deposits were also so large that you could actually make a small down payment on a small condo in Toronto right now. So I just thought I would share some of this data with you out there. This is like the first time I'm tracking this stuff, so I have no real like empirical proof that these numbers are stronger than most years due to the ridiculous immigration from the federal government. But in just kind of looking at this and scanning it, it feels a little bit higher than normal. Anyways, I hope this video is helpful and gives you some insights on what's happening in the real estate market and how our team navigates rental applications for what looks like a pretty ridiculous 2023 summer rental season. And if you are looking for some help on how to navigate this real estate market, you can book a call with me using the link that's right here. It's www.chatwithzen.com. Until next time, your move, your future. See ya! Now that I'm done watching this video, I think you should check out this video. And you know what? Why don't you check out this video too?